Hello, right, making a mead, part 3. This is going to be an old school mead, as I mentioned in the first part, which was using bread yeast, using marmite as the nutrient, energizer, and raisins as the nutrient. I was going to use bread yeast, but I thought it would be unfair to compare the two meads if they're made with different yeasts. So I'm going to use the same yeast, but use different nutrient and energizer, the marmite and the raisins, because the bread yeast will give it a different flavour, and I want to try and compare just basically the non-chemical way, or the non-brewing chemical way, to what was the old school way. So if I use the same yeast, that can't be part of the equation. So then it's the marmite and raisins fermenting out and helping out with the fermentation. Now, some of these jars I bought today were on special because they were all crystallised. So the way to do that is to put it in hot water, boil the water up and then stick them in a half hour. And as you can see, it's starting to clear. It's still got a bit to go. I might add some more heat to that, but it's going to make it runny anyhow. Quick one, sanitising all the equipment again like we're supposed to. That's been clean and sanitised. The only thing I'm going to do is I can't find my hole cutter for another lid. So this one's going to go in the demijohn. Doesn't make a difference. But I'm just going to put that one in a demijohn for the first time, and then when I find my hole cutter I can get some more of these made up. One thing I didn't mention is they take a lot less room on a shelf compared to a demijohn, and you get 5 litres in here, not 4.5, so you get just over a gallon. So it is beneficial if you want to work out your rates per litre, because these take up a bit more room, as you can see. And these all sit together on a nice shelf. So there is an advantage using these. Some people, I've got loads of demijohns, but I do like these on the shelves in the shed there. So that's that. Like I said, we're going to go old school with this. Raisins. Now raisins, if you go and get Whitmore's, Tesco's raisins or anything, if you look on the ingredients, a lot of them are covered in vegetable oil, some are in sunflower oil. If they're covered in sunflower oil, sun-kissed raisins don't, but if they are covered in sunflower oil, I wouldn't use them. Tesco's own brand, a lot of the own brands have sunflower oil, where there's a vegetable oil. Now, all that coating is to give it some shiny and stop them sticking together. It's perfectly okay to use. If you're worried about the oil content, put them in hot water for 5 minutes. Helps swell throughout. It does it, sorry, not hot water, but tepid water. So if you're going to measure the temperature, about 35 degrees is enough, 35, 40 degrees. Sit them in there for 5 minutes. The oil floats off them. Pour off the top. If you put them in a jug like that, you can decanter the oil off the top and get your raisins out that way. I don't bother. Then it doesn't really ever affect my thing. So like I said, we're going to go for the same yeast again. I'm going to use this 71B. Quick one, I did some research on this 71B. I have used that strand of yeast before. It's a Narbonne yeast. And the reason I use that for a lot of the fruits and that is because it's not so aggressive, so it doesn't rip through and ferment off the flavours and colouring, especially the aroma and the flavour. Champagne yeast is very aggressive, and also because it's so gentle yeast, it doesn't take a while to age. So that's the other one. So I'm just going to get everything ready because I've heated my honey up. I've got my temperature probe, and I forgot to add last time. I do put a bit of citric acid in with the must. If you're going for a sweet mead and you used a strong yeast, or when you ferment it out, when you taste it before you're bottling it, if you find it's a bit clingy around your tongue, cloyy they call it, It's a bit like syrupy. The way to do is add a teaspoon, add a little teaspoon a gallon, add a little bit of citric acid, stir it around, let it settle, go back to taste it. All that does is it stops the syrupiness being too coaty, so it's not like cough medicine when you see the legs when you swill it around a glass. That's what they call the legs. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get on with making this. It's the same as part one. So what we'll do is we'll get the raisins. I'll get the marmite out because I'm going to warm that up. Half a teaspoon of marmite, 3/4 teaspoon. Stir it in some warm water, and then let it stand to dissolve it and help that in. Again, we're going to put it all in this demijohn. Shake the hell out of it. I have heated this honey up because it was crystallised. Took it up and said, "Oh, this is all crystallised. It's supposed to be clear." And they went, "Oh, okay." And then they threw some money off it, so I got it quite. I threw 30p off a jar, so I was quite happy. So I'm going to get on with that. I'll get the must in there. If I think of anything, I'll film. But basically, I'm going to get it all in there, same as the last time, and then we'll crack on. But I will stop and film bits as we go along. Yeah, quick one. I'm not going to add citric acid. I'm going to use the juice out of one small orange. I've told you we're going old school. My fault. In the demijohn is the marmite, and I dissolved just about 3/4 teaspoon. Get it in the jar and get it in there. Dissolved that in probably about 30-40 millilitres of hot water to dissolve it, then let it stand for a bit, try and help cool down quicker. Then a couple of litres of water, in went the honey, topped it up, put the raisins in through the funnel as well, just giving it a good shake, let it stand for a bit. The yeast is here, the starter's already done like I did last time, a little bit of water, just a little bit of sugar, and let it go for about 20 minutes, so that helps really boost up the yeast cells. So that helps with a quicker fermentation. So everything's done. It's that quick. Literally spent 3-4 minutes because the honey was already warmed up. So once everything's ready, 3-4 minutes, boom, you're there. There's no mussing about. The raisins, I got the Whitmore raisins, which have got a coating of vegetable. Sun-kissed Californians. They're a bit more expensive. They don't have no things. So I did turn around and 20 millilitres of warm water, just threw them in there for 5 seconds, swivel them around, pulled the water off, and then just threw them in the demijohn. And like I said, I'm just going to juice this up. Quick one. This is quite soft, but if you throw it in the microwave for 10 seconds, you get more juice out of it. So I'm going to throw that in the microwave, extract the juice, and then put that in the demijohn as well. Yeah, I've just taken the temperature. It was 88 Fahrenheit, 31 degrees. So I've just standing it in some cold water, fill the thing up. Standing it there for 5 minutes. Temperature should get down to about 25 before you pitch yeast. I've got a few more, about another 10 minutes before I whip the yeast up again to let it froth up. So I'm just going to stand it in some cold water. Obviously it's not too hot because you don't want to do a hot demijohn into cold water because you'll shatter it. But this is a couple of degrees. I'm just knocking it down. I don't want to put any more fluid in than the shoulder, on the same reasons I said last time. It's about gas exchange on the surface area for the yeast for the first couple of days. So this one I will be replacing the bung and shaking up. The marmite should be alright, but I'm just going to give it an extra oxygen again. First 2 days or a day. We're going to do an OG reading in a minute as well. It should be around 1070, same as the other ones. 3 jars of honey. Might be slightly higher because there's a bit less liquid in this demijohn than there is in the plastic ones. So, but I think when I rack off and top up into the other ones, they'll both be the same. So that'll lower it out. So this one, just going to let it for 10 minutes, and then I'll pitch the yeast. And once it starts fermenting, I'll time the yeast It's 3 o'clock now, so probably about 10 past, quarter past 3, and then as soon as it starts bubbling, I'll start coming back to you. Okay, this is Pyment. It's going to be a quick one. In there I've got £3 of honey and 2 of these. This is from Tesco's. It's not from concentrate, it's juice, but you want to check it to make sure there's no preservatives or additives. This is pure white grape juice. The yeast I'm using is Gervin number 5. The reason being because it ferments at lower temperature, leaving more of the fruit flavour. It's a table wine. It's quite good for a good bouquet. Now, Pyment is grape juice and honey. That is known as a white mead. So, but I've put £3 of honey in there. This might be a lot. I left the headspace. When I top it up, it's just going to be pure grape juice. If I find it's a bit too sweet, then I'm going to divide that and add grape juice to the other two. Split it and then add the grape juice. But that's a Pyment. It's purely that and some honey and some yeast. I'm going to add some yeast nutrient, and that's it.